Good morning, everybody. It's Chrissy here. Um, Welcome again. Apologies for gaps that are appearing in my recordings. There's a lot happening, as I'm sure there is for you too. And how's that going for you? How are you learning to navigate what's looking very much like new ways, changes, sleeplessness, triggering, lots of light coming in, which is meeting lots of shadow that wants to be seen and lifted up to the light. Maybe new ways of grounding, maybe new ways of connecting in. There's actually tons of change. There's actually tons of change. And amazingly, the first card out for you guys is Soul Time. So we'll see what happens with this. This might have to be recorded in two parts. So I've called it Temperance and the Mystic because two big fields of clarity have opened up this morning. And one is about opportunities to use temperance with the new energies that are coming in. And the second is kind of for those that are dancing with spirit. I call them the mystics. So that might be for people who whose guides speak through them, who channel. And I'm noticing a new way of connecting. Okay, so I might have to do this in two parts. Let's see how it goes. And for those that know me, another new cup. Isn't it beautiful? Très glam. Right, moving on. So, Soul Time. I'd like to read this to you. The frequency of Soul Time asks us to allow the possibility of a new reality to emerge. One that embraces the concept that while the corporeal body, the physical body, is mortal, the soul is timeless, limitless, and infinite. And I saw a lovely comment this morning, which was mind the gap. And I've actually been seeing that for a while now, of people saying, I'm way out there and I'm here and I'm not quite sure what's in between, how to navigate what's in between. There's kind of this space. So it might be that that's being confirmed. That's what we're learning to navigate. It's like flux. So they're giving me flux state. There's like this flux state of how it is physical now, and new codings that are coming in, which are opening us up, opening up our energetic body to new potential. So in that potential for an expanded self, the big question, I guess, is how do we meet that? And how do we meet that through what remains of our old childhood programming? Because a lot of that's been lifted away out of the system. It's like that really thick, heavy stuff I can barely find anymore. Even when it comes through in my client work, it's coming through much lighter. It's not as dark and toxic and gluey. So that's actually going to speed up the process of our inner child work in order to move into this more mature expression of ourselves. And interestingly, the second card that came out today is the Merkaba. Now, the Merkaba is, I've heard it described as the chariot of fire. So this is the energy body that, I guess, allows connection. It allows you to bring your home or where you're from to hear and to integrate that into this physical experience. So for anybody who's worked with their Merkaba, you'll know what a powerful tool it is. And keeping that happy and healthy is optional. That might be a useful part of a weekly routine. So I'll read the Merkaba, 32.5, change. The frequency of the Merkaba supports our ability to use our consciousness to traverse into other layers of reality and dimensions. It activates our access to our Akashic inheritance as well. So that's everything the soul has learned so far, merging the totality of our experiences into our present to serve our highest purpose. The totality of our experiences, that's feeding straight into what I wanted to speak into with the mystic. Okay, fabulous. So yeah, it's the total energy body, masculine and feminine, spinning together in opposite directions. It's a vehicle. Okay, so with those two, I can't not look at the next card, which is change. So let me just bring in, I've written a few notes, and I'll try and stay connected while I read these and not go too heavily into the logical brain. So we've just had, yesterday was the Cancer new moon, quite auspicious, second Cancer new moon in a row. And Cancer is about hearth and home, it's about family. It's about, so if I take this all into the personal, it's about family. So for me, that would be not so much my extended family, but my internal family, i.e. how do I mother myself? So Cancer predominantly is the feminine. So how do I mother myself? And as I look back down my maternal line, what do I see that might not necessarily belong to me, but which I'm holding and behaving through? So again, change wants to uplift and elevate old patterns of behavior that keep me small, that keep us small as a collective. And what I'm also mindful of is soon, forgive me, can't remember the date, Chiron is going to go retro in Aries. And Mars is re-entered. Is Mars station? I think Mars is stationed in Aries. So that's firing up Aries. Aries is the initiator, the leader. So I think I mentioned this in my last video. That might create a bit of push-pull because we're actually in a pause, hence temperance. So it looks like we're in a learning curve called temper. How do you temper your temper? And the temper might come in when Aries is firing me up to push and create and da-da-da-da-da, but there's this, oh, careful. It's not quite time yet. It's not quite time yet. So Chiron, which is a healing planet, Chiron moves the deep, profound healing. I sense it as soul level healing. And what Chiron, speak into this with you, but for me, Chiron is bringing in the masculine. So my healthy question might be, is that masculine now coming in to support the feminine? So we have the feminine in 2 Cancer new moons, beginning and beginning. And we have the masculine coming in to assist with wounding. And I'm not assigning that wounding to the feminine or the masculine because, again, what I'm sensing is that there's going to come a time where they're inseparable. I'm seeing the masculine and the feminine coming into integration. I'm seeing it in me, I'm seeing it in the people around me, and also in my clients, which is amazing. So I'm also working with Chiron and looking at how I father myself? Which part of me has got my back? Which part of me protects me? Yeah, lovely. So I'm going to skim through these notes because I've had a couple of really healthy triggers appear in my world in the last 10 days. And they're speaking straight into this new moon because the new moon is bringing in something new. So collectively, what we're birthing are new ways of communicating. So moving into deeper expressions of vulnerability and intimacy and love, but not just talking about it, being it. Okay. And that's going to mean communicating in a different way. So using temperance in new ways, what I'm meeting feels like my shadow king, the shadow expression of my king, okay, as an archetype. So my king is protector of my dominion. Okay, so he protects the boundaries, and he kind of holds the creation of what I've created in this cathedral. He holds that as structures, behaviors, integrity, and how I want to physically manifest. So the feminine has created the cathedral through imagination and creation into the blueprint. And the king is now coming in saying, okay, in order for you to be what you've created, we need to look at this, this, and this. And I'm going to show you that through these shadow behaviors. So I've clearly identified some shadow behaviors in myself that make me want to behave in old patriarchal ways. Okay, so what I now have to sit with is, how can I bring down temperance to temper the heat of my Aryan self? Remember, we are all signs of the wheel, all 13 signs. So I tend to lean into Vedic, Eastern astrology, because it's so much more specific than Western. But for the purposes of these videos, I tend to lean into Western because it's more well known. So how do I meet this triggering situation with love and flow when my shadow king wants to dominate? Okay, so domination is old patriarchal way. Sorry about the reflection on my glasses. So for a long time, I've been seeing the Lover's card appearing in all sorts of different readings. I've done readings for the collective, readings for me, and notice where your mind goes, because the Lover's card for me is like, it's kind of like any two cards. It's basically a choice and an opportunity to balance. Okay, it's an opportunity to align and to meet on equal footing. So it's showing this as much respect as I'm showing that. Okay. So the Lovers is harmony, opportunity for harmony. And it has nothing to do with the illusion of the perfect one. Okay. This is the perfect one. So we spend hundreds of thousands of lifetimes perfecting in matter, perfecting light into matter. Okay. It has everything to do with a much deeper learning around balance. This is the energy of 2020. So how do I balance what you're triggering in me, and how do I, in this new communication, stand naked in that and stay strong in my integrity? So the integrity is the king that wants to protect the boundaries. And at the moment, my boundaries are around I'm keeping that within because the words have disappeared. So staying in flow state and meeting what's here. I'm keeping that within and staying in flow state. So there is no light without shade. In order for the light to be integrated, it has to locate its equal and opposite. Remember, polarity The law of polarity states there are no two opposites that cannot be reconciled. That's the Lovers. See, that's the Lovers card, balance. In light comes growth, expansion, and new connections to inspire us to build this new cathedral. And with that comes the shade, the lifting of the shade, and what is yet to be made light. And one of the messages I've been getting in my personal channelings is, as you feel challenged, you must not bring the past to the now, because the now is not the past. The now is something different. Okay, so we've got things going on here. Let me just recap. We've got the maternal line coming in. Okay, and the maternal line that has held the homestead for aeons, in world after world of war, and men going missing from the system, and men even coming home and being unable to support their own families and abandoning because they've come back so broken down into something that can no longer function without the structure of the military or whatever other structure around them. They've lost their internal structure. Okay, so the feminine is carrying some old wounds. They generally, this is just to me, feel much lighter. They feel much lighter. So a lot, when I say there's a lot of help here, non-reality help here, non-physical rather, I do not say that lightly. There is so much heavy sludge being taken out of the system. It's mind-blowing, heart-blowing. Okay, back to the notes. Are you with me so far? Am I making sense? So we cannot bring the old to the new. Now, we're still in retrograde season, so the old is going to keep presenting itself and offering us an opportunity to behave new and try different things out. You'll find your way. You'll find your way, but it will be your way, okay? Not so much the ancestors' way, your way, with maybe some of the wisdom of the ancestors, picking out the best bits, okay? The love and the humour and the compassion. We can bring those forward. We can't bring victim mentality. We can't. Scapegoat, persecutor, that's all in the system at the moment. And again, even that triad feels very light, feels much lighter. So it's all being uplifted. And yeah, absolutely. In the upliftment, can we let it go? That's a beautiful challenge. In the upliftment of self and the pulling up of the sludge at the bottom of our carburetor, can we let it go? Do we keep pulling it back? We're in retro season, the option's there. Can we let it go? So how am I using temperance? And trust me, as a Sag, I have no excuse not to use temperance. Temperance is the card of Sagittarius, so I have no excuses. So at the moment, and this could all change tomorrow, I'm sharing this because it might be useful for anybody that's feeling a bit, I'm using temperance in these ways. First, I'm stopping, dropping into the pause and understand something else. Has to be different. I can't keep looking down the same avenue to find different answers. That's the definition of insanity. I have to look in different directions to find what works for me, for my heart, for my soul. This is my song. This is your song. And only you know the keys and the notes and the nuance to your song. And it is a very beautiful thing, your song. So I'm stopping to recognize really clearly new triggers that are entering my world, and they are. It's like I'm having my own personal retrograde. So new triggers coming in. My first instinct is to behave in the old way. So the Shadow King comes out and wants to thump the table a bit. No, I don't want to be that. That's not me. That's not me. Ah. And that part of my shadow self has just let go. That isn't me. It isn't me. So I've just done number 1 for you live. Stop to recognize really clearly the triggers. So in me acknowledging and making that choice, I create divergence. I've looked in a completely different direction. We only need to point the mind 1 degree off what is normal to unbalance it. It has to be unbalanced. And in balancing, you've got that lovely wobble, and in the wobble is the potential for change. It's flux. What do I want to make of this quickly? What do I want to make of this? Okay, so making a different choice and acknowledging that isn't me. I've had to be that. I've had to be that to survive a very difficult childhood. Okay. So then beginning to dialogue with that trigger, which I've just done, and I've said to it, I don't want to be you. And it left. I said it with love. I don't want to be that. It's not me. Okay. And then just kind of allowing a softness to express itself in my body. And I do that by sleeping on it. So I don't take immediate action anymore, because that's been my downfall. I am extremely quick-witted. And my resting face can be Queen of Swords. You know, I don't think I want to be that either. I don't want to be that either. But she's not presenting. This is very king energy. So that's what I've just spoken into. Okay, so I sleep on it, because sleeping on it for me allows all the emotion to drain out and me just to be left with the objective truth. What actually happened here? Because what actually happened will appear very, very small, softer, once all the emotion that creates this, insert words here, has just fallen away through the calmness of sleep. So sleep on it. Then until this behavior becomes an automatic neuroconnector and just clicks in like that. Vulnerable, intimate, soft, loving. That's kind of the direction I'm going in. Then I choose my words quite cognitively, but connected to the heart. So I choose words very carefully. They have to feel different and do no harm. It's like learning a new language. It's going to take practice. And here's the rub. In doing no harm, they cannot be moving into people pleaser or anywhere toward people pleaser. Okay, because big picture, what we're all moving towards is individuation from that which programs us. Okay. Okay, so and then the last stage of my process is I make the whole process slow, which for me, being so quick-witted, is gold. That's gold. Slow the whole thing down. And what that actually does as well at the fractal is that matches the pace that I'm in. Because what I'm in at the moment is, it's not time. I know you want to push ahead, Chrissy, but it isn't time. You're still building the structure for 2021, because that's what we're all doing. Okay. The breakthroughs we're making this year are in preparation for 2021, which is a 5-year. Okay. 5 is change. 5 is change through all the senses. Okay. Through all the elements, change. Pausing more and slowing down more and becoming acutely aware that this seeming pause, wait, not yet pattern going on in my world and others that I know is actually a space for training. It's a training space to practice this new way of communicating. So we're kind of coming to the sharp end of self-actualization. Okay. Self-actualization. Self is what we build in the cathedral, and the actualization is the manifestation of that self through the physical, through words and choices and behavior. Okay. And like I say, the sharp end of self-actualization is standing your ground harmlessly without a trace of people pleaser. Okay. It's a real tango. You have to learn the steps carefully or you will fall over. Okay. So it seeks to please no one, and it does so without a trace of belligerence or retaliation, which the child self might want to do. Okay. So personally, I sense my shadow king is actually coming through my teenage self. If I met her now, I'd be on my back foot. She's fierce. Yeah, she's fierce, but not loving. So she's kind of, my shadow king is coming through my teenage self. So, is that? Yes. I'm going to end part 1, which I'm going to call Temperance. And then part 2 will be a message to the mystics. And I can probably get that out later on today. So, my lovelies, do I need to bring you the rest of these cards? That's amazing. Oh, that's amazing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6 cards, which is the number of balance. Okay. An equilibrium. And the third card, change, is pointing to the next 3 cards, which are actually to the mystics. They're also to the collective. Bring them through. I'm sorry. You see, I'm taking my time. I'm not jumping. Right. So I'm going to give you guys the last 3 cards for today, but you may see them turn up in the second reading. Okay. So, reminder. We are walking into the infinite expression of the soul. Okay. Expansion. And we are doing this through the cosmic vehicle called the Merkaba. Cosmic vehicle, access to all that you are. Through the flux state of change. Okay. So what is happening? I'm seeing this now. It's happening now. Emergence. And the way I'm seeing it is people are literally connecting to their seed race. I am seeing it in the collective. And that is going to help giftedness, dormant giftedness, begin to emerge. So emergence into a more holistic self, let's say, an expanded self. And I'll read this to you. 25/7, that is a magical number. The frequency of emergence invites us to approach our reality with a childlike attitude of innocence and wonderment, and to watch and celebrate the beauty that unfolds from that place. If you watch a child play, they create whole dimensions in minutes because their imagination is limitless, and everything that's ever been created has come through the imagination. Mind and imagination together. That's what creates creation. Sorry, that wasn't very eloquent. Okay. From emergence, we then move into integration. How do I integrate this new coding, dormant coding that I brought with me? How do I integrate my connection to it? Okay. How do I integrate its wisdom into this being? The frequency of integration supports our embrace of every aspect of ourself, allowing what we perceive as positive and what we perceive as negative to harmonize in a balanced symphony of life. Wow. It's the beginning of the end of duality. Wow. And the last card for today. The lady has a bird's nest on her head. That's all I'm saying. My service, no matter how great or small, is a conscious act of co-creation with the world. So that can be if I go out and pick up one piece of litter, that's how I co-create with the world. Or if I sit down and work on a new project, that's how I co-create. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is wasted. I absolutely promise you, and I ask my kids, I never make promises. I absolutely promise you nothing is wasted. Seriously, I found a journal. Yes, what day is it? Tuesday, Sunday, I found a journal, and I'm rereading through this journal about a workshop I did in 2016, about a dream I had. And after I finished reading about the workshop, the people who ran the workshop emailed me. Okay. And a dream I read about. So this is how this is how nothing is wasted. I'll share this story with you. Synchronicity. God, yeah. I'm going to try and dance over this because this is kind of what's coming in for the Mystic video. Synchronicity is on drugs at the moment. So in this old journal, I read about a dream I'd had where I was holding a red leather book. And when I woke up, I knew I had the book. I turned the house upside down looking for the book, which wasn't there. So clearly I didn't have it. A week later, a red leather book came into my life. And it was The Red Book by Carl Jung. And so sitting with the book, I let it fall open at a page. It was obviously, jump forward, ran upstairs, got this book, let it fall open at a page. And it's telling me about one of the journeys Carl had with one of his guides, which then moved into a whole field that I'm currently in to do with my seed race. So it's like containers are dissolving. Container between the physical and the non-physical is dissolving. Like I literally said to my team somebody asked me the other day, who do you work with? And I said, it's a conglomerate now. It isn't this and this and this and this. It's a conglomerate. And I asked my team, do I need to tune in these days to channel? And they said, no, you're fully connected all the time. The only thing I'm needing to do at the moment is to ground every day, more than once a day, because my downloads are constant. Okay. So that's just a little taster for what I'm going to bring through in the Mystic one. I'm going to shut up and stop talking now because I need to have breakfast. And I didn't come to the video having just eaten breakfast, so I'm not picking food out of my teeth because I don't want to be that person. I love you guys. Thank you to the new subscribers. You are so welcome here. I hope what I'm bringing is of something to you. I love your feedback. I'd love more. So definitely comment if there's something, if you've got questions. I love questions. Please like if you feel the urge to share. I would dearly love that. Yeah, I would love the channel to grow. And I also trust that 21 people is all that there are at the moment. So two sides of myself, you see. Right, I'm definitely going. I'm going to feed my face. Leaving you with love and curiosity until the next video, hopefully today. Adios, amigos. See ya.